Hey, y'all. Welcome to another week of Pies and Science. Wait a minute, did I say Science and Pies' favorites?
What?
Okay. But actually, it's my favorite this week.
It is Postelle's
Yes.
favorite, and I cannot wait to hear because this is Postelle's favorite cocktails with a sexologist, y'all. And I cannot wait to hear, man, what is your favorite of our cocktails with a sexologist?
It's getting hot in here. What your mom and them never told you about menopause?
What? That? Girl. That was such a good episode. Oh my God.
We needed to talk about that shit.
Girl, and we still got so much more to talk about that.
Them bitches ain't telling us shit.
Nothing. Not a goddamn. Oh, you know what? Since you're gonna have hot flashes, that's it. You ain't say nothing about all this. We ain't say nothing about all this damn weight gain. We ain't say nothing about the crazy make.
Which is it? Heart palpitations.
Girl. Yes.
What that is? Drop.
Oh. Not drop. Yeah, that would be the opposite
Dap.
of dap. the opposite of WAP. Yes.
They did us wrong. They did us dirty, y'all. They did us dirty. Yeah, that's all right. Because we gonna get it straight. We getting it straight today. Y'all better tell y'all young ladies in your life about this. Please bring your daughter into the room. Yes. She need to hear this shit.
She needs to hear.
Don't leave out here dumb. Don't let her be a dumb bitch. I'm telling y'all. Don't let her be a dumb bitch.
We're putting an end to dumb bitchery, okay? So dumb bitchness, okay? We're putting an end to
no dumb bitchery.
No dumb.
Girl, we putting an end to no dumb. Yes, I see the shirt.
We need a shirt with the line through.
No dumb bitchery.
No dumb bitchery. Yes. We putting an end to all that.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
And you remember this episode was what had us be invited to a national platform to actually talk about menopause and how it affects heart health. So, and we really had an amazing time talking to those women about how menopause actually affects us, because it affects us in so many different ways. And then we had the amazing Carleeka, Basnight-Menendez. She is a menopause expert. Yes. And she is out here with her, being a drum major out here in these streets about really showing the presence of Black women in menopause and how it impacts. So we were delighted to have her. So you do not want to miss this episode. And as Pastor said, drag your girls in because they need to sit down and hear this.
Hell yeah. Get them in there.
Hell yeah. Yes.
And if they can't see it now, guess what? We on YouTube. Invite them to YouTube to watch the replay. Send them the replay. Check us out on IG. Check out our guests on IG. Look, this one is serious, okay?
This one is serious.
It ain't as sexy as the other ones, but that shit is real. Okay?
I tell you what, it's necessary for you to maintain the sexiness. Hello? So if you'll handle this, you're going to be out here looking raggedy in these streets. I'm just telling you. So
or sleeping on the sweaty side of the bed too.
So just a reminder, this is a replay. So you want to make sure none of the dates actually apply. And next week, we are going to hear Postelle's favorite self-care episode. So I can't wait to hear what her favorite self-care is. And again, we're just enjoying some of our favorites. So sit still, watch this episode. We'll be in the chat.
Bye, y'all.
Fresh out the oven, straight to the bank. Ben's Hager smelling like bank. Seats, somebody died on them. Kitty looking like somebody cried on it. Ooh, what you looking at? What you looking at? Body like cinnamon roll. Icing on the top, if you got it, let's go.
Yes.
You know that theme song never is old. That shit is hot.
It's slapped.
It is menopausal hot. Yes.
Yes.
All right, y'all. This is Pasta Mommionaire. And welcome to another No Bra Wednesday. Yes, we missed y'all. We are talking about, is it Scott? What a sexologist? Well, our resident sexologist, this is one of her topics. So
one of my topics.
Yes, we are talking about it's getting hot in here. What your mama never told you, okay? Because we know they done let us go through this shit by our damn self. Not my mama. I mean, Elaine, she prepared me, so I'm gonna talk about that later. But my mother really did prepare me for this topic, so I'm always ready to talk about some menopause. Okay,
I know that's right.
Yes, I hope you are ready for a robust conversation. We have a dope ass queen in the room.
Yes,
joining the panel discussion. So, but before we introduce her, let her introduce herself. I'm going to turn it over to our resident sexologist, Sonia, the sensuous certified sexologist, is in the house.
Yes, in the house. What, giving you shoulders, baby, giving you shoulders and these.
And I'm cold.
Shit, over here cold. What? Child, I am prepared. I'm always prepared for summer and for the beach. So as long as I'm indoors and we can make this hot. Then we dress like it's the time for the beach around here. So yes, I am Sonia, the sensuous certified sexologist, and we are talking about a topic that affects your sexology. That's what affects your sexuality. So that's why it was so important to put on the schedule. And all of and it has to do with your reproductive system. So hey, it's where we start shifting and we transition into another phase of life. So, but we're going to talk about it in just a minute. Just a reminder, we go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for No Bra Wednesday, but we let them titties loose, honey, and we let them talk because we have a lot of things to say, and we say it with our breasts. And ain't nothing. I was thinking today, when I went out, I put on a bra, but I came back in, they were like, "Why? Take it off, take it off." I'm like, they could not wait till I walked through the door for it to come off. Yes. Just as a reminder, yes, we're talking about it's getting hot in here today. Next Wednesday, we will be doing Money Moves with Pause because we're going to be doing it a week early. And then we're going to be coming to you for our Thanksgiving special right before Thanksgiving. So we're going to be doing something a little special before Thanksgiving. So we're going to be talking about all about the money next week. And the topic's going to be stop going broke over the holidays. Okay, so.
Don't let Santa make you a broke bitch. Don't do it.
It's unnecessary.
Okay, one bill. We ain't on that yet. Let me go ahead.
You see, she already ready. She is ready to talk about it because we do too much going broke over the holidays. So anyway, we're gonna let Postelle talk on that next week. And just as a reminder, of course, every first Wednesday of the month we have our column, whether we're talking about Ask a Grown Ass Woman or we talking to the men. Every second Wednesday is Cocktails with a Sexologist. The fourth Wednesday of each month is Money Moves with Pause. But again, this particular week, we're going to do Money Moves with Pause a week early. Also, you want to make sure you do not miss when we go live. So check out our link tree. It has all the links. It is Linktree at Grown Ass Women Shit. So check that out. And it has everything that you need, including places that you can go so that you can make sure you're there when we drop the link. So now, as Postelle said, we have our girl in the room. Yes, that Miss Carleeka, who is going to tell us, who is a brand ambassador for menopause out here in these streets, getting educated, doing the Lord's work. Hello. So Carleeka, if you can introduce yourself and tell us some things about yourself, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you, ladies. Thank you. Look, amazing. Look, I'm gonna be tuning in for all this Santa edition, right? Because you're right, people ain't paying their bills, but you got all this stuff under the Christmas tree. I'm just saying. But if you want to get something, get the menopausal woman a good gift, okay? Look up good gifts for the menopausal woman. If you just
what she need?
Right, exactly. A fan.
Okay, or two.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I am the #1 Black face of women in menopause. We are having the conversations from the US to the UK and connecting with people, women all over, and especially women of color. Where you at, where you at, where you at. Yes, we're highly underrepresented in a lot of areas, but let's become more proactive instead of reactive when it comes to our health, right? The things that we talk about this on TV. Can we get our health, our mind, our every part of us, chemically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, get all of the leads in order so that we can live a life full of health and wealth? I often say, look, don't just love yourself to health, not to death. And so that's what we are doing. Ladies, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are so welcome.
I like that. You know, I used to say, I love you to life. And so I love you to health.
Love you to health. Yes.
I love that.
Wait a minute. Let's jot that.
That's she dropped that. Hold up. That's a take home. That's a take home right there. That's it. So let's get into this conversation about menopause. What's your story, Carleeka?
Yes.
So I was thrown into menopause at the age of 30. I remember I had a full hysterectomy, which probably 9 times out of 10 with more education, more resources, more community, probably could have been avoided.
Yes, ma'am.
Fibroids and all of these things. So I did not have an opportunity to really make a sound decision. That's why I'm so boisterous about it, because I didn't feel like I had anyone really advocating for me. It was, hey, do you want to stay in pain or do you want to have a hysterectomy? Well, heck, I don't want to be walking around or laying in the floor in pain. Let's have the hysterectomy. It was not a good experience. Like, I ended up going back to the hospital after being discharged in less than 24 hours with infection starting to take over my body. So when I say I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks, developed pneumonia, all things was going on. I was just like, OMG. But then after that, going home, that first hot flash, I thought it was going to take me out. Like, I looked around the room and I said, well, what is going on here? Like, I wanted to jump in the deep freezer butt naked, like get frostbite everywhere. It didn't matter. Like, and I was like, well, what is going on? So I felt alone because I just had no support, no community. I had a bunch of pamphlets, right? Read this, read that. And of course, Google University, look up everything that you possibly could, diagnosing yourself with something else. Like, what is going on? So I would be on video or something and just break out in a sweat. And people are like, well, no, I didn't just go run no marathon, okay? And the thermostat is down to like 60, 65 in the house. And I got a fan here and the ceiling fan on, and you're drenched, right? Or waking up drenched. And so that's definitely my background of it. I just say I was thrown into it, and I want to jump. Still now I want to jump in the deep freezer butt naked. I mean, with the little rolls and everything, it's all good.
I know that's right. Well, my story, I was 35, but my mother, she prepared me because my family. Your mother's so awesome. She is. Well, she was like, you better have them babies because we got a finite amount of time to do this.
You got a little window.
You can play.
She was clear about her grandbaby. She like, look, you better get these grandbabies in here now.
You can play if you want, but you might want to get pregnant. And I'm telling my daughter, I mean, people may be looking at me crazy, but I'm like, look, if you want children, don't be waiting until all your shit is in, right, this hit career. And think about your family first. But anyway, I was 35 when it started. And my mother, I remember growing up, and one time she was having a meltdown, and she literally was screaming while driving us. And she told me after that episode, she ended up going to the doctor. And they kept telling her, you're too young to be going through menopause. And she told them, she said, well, if it ain't menopause, then lock me up in the crazy house because something ain't right. And of course, when they tested her, well, when the test came back, because it depends on where you are, hormonally, if they can detect if you're menopausal. Same thing happened to me.
Wow.
They told me you are not going through menopause. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. I was like, my mama told me. So you can't, you use a lie. I know I'm going through menopause, and it took 2 years for my hormone level to show that I was actually going through menopause. In the meantime, I was having severe night sweats.
I remember you talking about
that was the
night
thing.
sweats.
So that caused insomnia because I'm constantly up and down. So what happened is I started sleeping between 2 beach towels. I would start off with a nightgown. That came off first. Then the bottom beach towel came off. Then the next one. And by the time the morning comes, I've sweat out the sheets. I mean, it was all night. It was miserable.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been fully menopausal since the age of 40, and haven't looked back, So a lot of my friends, my peers, they're just going through it. I'm like, child, please.
Right. It's a wrap.
Been there, done that. Already been there. It's funny because I didn't think about the fact I was in transition when I was going through transition, so I had no idea. I wasn't even thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about it being a possibility. I don't know why. It just was not at the forefront of my mind. So when my body started going through all these changes, I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I'm not understand, but I didn't associate it with menopause because I would be asleep and feel my chest, my heart coming out of my chest. So it would be like a constant palpitations, palpitations, and then also body parts falling asleep and tingling in my fingers and in my feet. And I was like, oh Lord, okay, so now they're going to diagnose me with. I'm thinking about all the diseases. I was thinking about how I was going to have everything.
Googling all kind of shit.
I'm telling you.
I'm like, oh Lord.
Now you done had consumption, TV, all kind of shit.
I'm like, oh God, I'm dying. And I'm like, I couldn't understand, like, again, with the heart coming out of my chest, and I could feel my pressure too. So I'm so sensitive. I can feel when my pressure rises. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know how people have it and don't, because I can feel like it's like a thumping on the inside of my body. I'm like, oh, my pressure's up. I can feel it, and I can feel when it goes back down. So then I started then being very like, I wiped everything out. Like, okay, that's it. No salt, no nothing. No, we're not doing none of that, because clearly I don't know what you got, but we about to stop it. So and then I was doing my little bananas, like, oh, you need potassium. I was just trying to do whatever I felt like I needed naturally so that I can take care of myself. And then at some point they started to even out. And also I started taking some vitamins and supplements, and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm doing okay now. I'm not having all of the major symptoms that I was having. And it wasn't until after starting to look at menopause, I'm like, that's what the fuck was happening. Okay.
Like you go down the list, right? You go down the list and like, oh, check. I'm having that.
Right. I just saw the tingling of the fingers just when I was looking up something for the show. And I was like, oh, that's why the fingers were tingling. I had all kinds of stuff. I could just hear noise happening inside my body while we trying to lay there and go to sleep, but it was not happening. And I'm like, now I've kind of graduated to, I feel like I might be full menopause, but I've gotten to almost 12 months, like 3 times. And then then it's just like, bitch, we not done. And I'm like, what?
I'm back.
And it seems like every time it come back from me is because I done had sex. It's like, oh, you're not done? Okay, we still childbearing. So I'm like, okay, so you mess around and have one of the wild nights, and then I wind up bleeding again. Like, okay, cycle back. So yeah, so it's been what I'm now experiencing is the weight gain, which is just throwing me for a loop, because even though I am not eating, I'm barely eating and eating vegetables, I just looked up that no, you have to be doing a high protein and getting your muscles up. So I'm like, okay, so now we got to try something different, because apparently the same way that I would just go on a straight veggie thing and the weight would fall off, it's not working now.
That's for young folks.
Okay, it doesn't work even with the working out, right? Even with those lifestyle changes. Like, I've met women and they're like, I was running 5 miles. I said, well, good for you, because that ain't my ministry to run no 5 miles, no 5K. That ain't for me. But it's more strength training and lightweight and repetition, because menopause is not a disease, it's a transition, but it leads to other diseases, and muscle deterioration can be one of them. So with the weight gain, the way we eat, the way we exercise and everything, it's just like, okay, so now I got to do this, find something else, because I'm in a whole nother stage.
Yeah. There's this woman on TikTok that I just looked at. I'll drop one of her videos. She is she just did her first bikini contest at the age of like 53. And she looks like she's a bodybuilder now, but she just did it at like for 51. So she had all this extra weight. She did she built up her muscles, and that's when all the weight dropped off. And she's like, you have to have you got to build up the muscles. And so she's on there giving all of the tips on how she lost weight, because she's like, you've got to strength train. Actually, cardio actually will make you eat up your muscles. So cardio is not supposed to be good at our age, or at least not as much.
Not excessive. You still do cardio because you still need the heart health, but the muscle burns fat, will help you with the fat burning. So the more muscle you have, the leaner you can be. But that fat ain't going nowhere if you don't have the muscle. Yeah, tell them, Carleeka.
Right.
Man, the fat. Yeah. And that's coming from someone. I used to have an eating disorder years ago, from like starting in 10th grade till almost 30. Anorexia. So when I started having some weight gain, and you done went from size 00 to none of your business.
Right. Exactly. To none of your business.
So none of your business. That was like, oh, what's going on here again? And then I knew my eating habits hadn't really changed and different things. And I was like, oh my God. But this is all the stuff they don't tell you. So Posh, your mother, amazing, because most people, all you ever hear, well, I'm having a personal summer, and like, what that mean again?
Right. They don't tell you that you're on fire from your feet to the top of your head. See, me, I used to sweat out everything. So that it was embarrassing. My kids were miserable, because sometimes in the wintertime be 0 degrees outside and I had the windows down. Poor babies. But I mean, it really changes your life, and it changes the people around you. You know, I'm divorced. I feel sorry for the husbands who sleeping in the bed next to women going through menopause. That must be awful, waking up so clammy ass.
Right. I mean, I was dating somebody who had prostate cancer, and so as a result, he had to they had to lower his testosterone, so he was having hot flashes, and so laying in the bed next to him with the hot flashes, it was like, oh, this is challenging, because it's like he would get hot, snatch all the cover off, including me, and then I got to fight for my damn cover, and then he would get soaking wet, and I'm like, okay, yes, I can't imagine what it must be like.
Wow.
Yeah.
My husband just be like, "Oh, you're radiating," and I'm like, "Okay, stop." Okay. He's like, "You're radiating." He's like, "You're radiating." And I'm like, "Well, what you want me to do?" But you're right. Like, I'm like, give me a freeze pop. Like, I want to just give me a walk-in freezer so I can just go in and come out. But you're right. Cover on. He doesn't like the ceiling fan on. It's on 24/7, except when it's going to be clean. If I could lower the air, put up the windows and everything, he be in here, the kids be in here with hoodies on, and I'm just like.
That's why I tell my kids, put on some damn clothes.
Y'all are here terrorizing the babies.
Unless you want me walking around here in my birthday suit. Okay.
I don't think they won't be traumatized. I tell my son, you're gonna see something you don't want to see one day. That you cannot unsee.
Did I see that?
You're gonna see something.
With me.
You're gonna see something.
You're gonna see something you cannot unsee.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the weight around the middle section of women.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
Let's not talk about it. No, I'm just joking. But that's where the weight is. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
Your body's trying to compensate. People, wonder, well, what the hell happened? Fat holds estrogen, and it sends signals like we need more fat around our uterus. It's dead. So you get a fat ass gut. So I just want people to know it ain't your fault. It's not your fault, baby.
Well, it's feeling like my fault. But it's funny because an Imposter and I just did a photo shoot when I was just looking at the pictures before the show, and I was like, okay, And I said, you know what? Okay, so this is what you get to do. You get to fall in love with that woman in the pictures, because it is what it is. And so, and recognizing that this is part of this is you at this age, like understanding that this is what happens, and she still gets to experience love. This body gets to still experience love with everything that it's going through.
I agree. And I'll say this, we have a choice to just make better decisions. We have a choice when we know better. We don't always do better, but the more education we get and different things, and once again, making that conscious decision of I'm going to do something because I don't want to create other health issues from being overweight or having this excess weight in my section pressing down on my other organs that I didn't have problems before. I don't want to create problems. So what can I do? Not a New Year's resolution, but a lifestyle change. What can I do every day? Right? We hear people talk about self-care and all of these things all the time. Newsflash, self-care ain't going to get your nails done or your hair done. Okay, that's called maintenance. Self-care is actually taking time every single day to block out some time just for you to do whatever that is for your mental, for your body, whether that's taking a walk, whether that's saying, I'm not cold turkey cutting out sugar, but I'm going to gradually take away things and discipline myself to say, you know what, I don't have to have this midsection, right? Because I see women in menopause but we got to do some work, right? It ain't just going to fall.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Carleeka, I wasn't saying to love it, so meaning it gets to stay, but certainly love it because I also don't get to beat up on myself at this stage, because I didn't want to turn into disliking the woman in the mirror, because she still deserves love even as we shift and even as I take care of myself.
Look, I agree, because I got a little pudge too. And once again, you're coming from someone who never had weight problems. Even before being anorexic, I still didn't have weight problems. It was all mental. It was all my perception of I couldn't get skinny enough. So I totally understand, because if not, I would have already reverted back to those bad habits. Right. Because that's where my mind would have took me. But because I love all of me, the fluff and everything, we just know how to dress it up real cute. Understand?
Yeah, exactly. And the love actually then also gives the body what it needs to, in order for you to do the things that you're talking about doing. Because we don't understand how much love makes this a big transformer. And often we think, if you hate it enough, it's gonna go away. And often it's not. Not with attacking yourself. Right. Saying. Yeah. So part of the self-care is love.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna reset. So welcome everyone to Grown Ass Women Shit. We are talking about it's getting hot in here. What your mama never told you about menopause.
Yeah,
we the three ladies up here, we know about menopause.
Yes, we do.
We're having a robust conversation. We'd love for you to join in. Please pose your questions, comments in the chat. I know we had one comment. Someone said, I had my last child at 48, praise God. And menopause hit soon after. My Lord and my God.
Wow. And soon after, can you imagine running around behind a toddler and you haven't
right. Ugh, we're gonna pray for her.
Let's touch and agree. We touching and
agree. We all we gonna touch and agree on that one. Yeah. So let's talk about some of these symptoms. I know we put a poll up. We had a poll this week about some of the symptoms, and some of the symptoms were pretty new to me. I know I've experienced hair loss and, a number of, for me, it was the body changes. I've been slim most of my life, and menopause changed that. I became a little snickerish. So
that little thickums.
little snickerish. So, it really messed with me. I was going back in my medical file and it back to early on when it started. And my concern was always the weight gain. I just couldn't stop it, and COVID just completely changed it,
COVID and tipped it over.
Blame menopause at this point.
Yeah, COVID and just tipped it over. It's just like, okay, so now it's just going to be completely out of control. So just
Pause, what you say? I can't even blame COVID for this.
I can't blame COVID. I was about to lie, Carleeka. I was about to lie on COVID, but this is my fat ass eating,
No, I'm in here eating kale and squash. So what I'm like, or not eat, not well, yeah, I know part of the not eating also will do it, because then you want to hold on to weight. So so it's not good. But some of the things that when you talk about the some of the lesser known symptoms, I know one woman mentioned body odor. Our bodies change in terms of the odor. It's like, well, god damn. I mean, really? Like, okay.
Who is
that? certainly not me. Certainly not me.
Right. I don't want to admit it, but you say that again, Carleeka?
I said I haven't experienced that one, but once again, everyone's journey,
everybody's different.
It's different. Like I haven't experienced hair loss, some weight gain, hot flashes, night sweats, vaginal dryness. Now, the first time that happened, your girl was looking like I had a meltdown, like real, because I was just like, now my mind is ready. Okay,
right.
He ready. Look, let's do this. I was like, wait a minute. That don't feel good. Like, what is going? That vaginal dryness 3, 4.
Yeah,
it's traumatic. It's traumatic. Yeah. It is really traumatic, and it may deter some women from not having sex because one, it hurts. It can be very painful. I remember one time I described to my physician. I was like, it feels like razor blades.
Yeah,
like little cuts. And what she said, well, the lining of your vaginal wall is thinning out, and not to mention I had yeast infections because of that as well. That's very common. So it's man, we go through it. My God, we really go through it. That just like you, Carleeka, when it happened to me, I was traumatized because I'm like what? Right.
Yes. When you used to getting it in, and you used to being like very, very sloppy wet, like whoa, wait a minute. What's going on? That's never that's not
okay. Sahara Desert. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of women should know that you can use vaginal estrogen, you can use lubricant. I'm going to your thing, Sonia.
I would say, definitely you want to use lubrication, and you want to understand that there is, now I know that usually when I'm teaching about lubrication, we have a lot of resistance. Like it's almost like lubrication is like our kryptonite, like erectile dysfunction is for men. So we like, hell no, I'm always miss wet. And there's nothing that says that something's wrong with your body. Clearly we're going through a transition. There's nothing to beat up your body about, but just to accept it. And sometimes we're not as lubricated as others, and you need support. But you want to just try to avoid having dry sex, because that you talking about setting a whole. Besides it being painful, you're talking about creating a whole bunch of other possibility, including micro cuts, like you said, feeling like razor blades. You actually create micro cuts on the inside of your vagina when you have dry sex.
Yeah,
that invites unwetted
bacteria,
infections, and all sorts of. So just get yourself a good bottle of lube. Call your girlfriend. Call me. I can hook you up with the good, and then and you just want to make sure you're staying. Wetter sex is better sex.
Yes. Yeah. And so we have a comment that it's those DAP moments.
Try it. Oh my God.
Yes, Troy. It's common, y'all.
Yeah, and it's actually common for women even before we get to menopause. Like for some women, it is that we experience dryness, and some is even not related to sex. It's just dryness when you walk around on a day-to-day basis. Some women are using. I have women purchase lubrication from me. It's almost like you need a lotion on your vulva to keep you from feeling dry and itchy. Mm-hmm. So it ain't no shame in that. Do what you need to do.
But that's one of the topics too, outside of just menopause. We never really hear a lot of people talk about vaginal health, right?
Right.
You hear people tell you, clean yourself well and wash, but it's like, y'all, it's so much more than that, especially when your pH and all of these different things are changing. Like we said earlier, with odors and different things, some people like, look, I ain't never smelled like this, or some people are changing deodorants more frequent because trying to find the right one that's like, what's going on?
You ain't lying, because what used to work does not
work anymore. Hello?
Like, who snuck up in here?
Right.
I mean, so did you all see the commercial for Loom?
Yes, I know Loom. Mm-hmm.
I've ordered that before.
I have Loom and I have several tubes.
I like it.
I like Loom. Yeah,
I can endorse Loom. Loom is a personal, what do they call it? Private part deodorant.
It's a deodorant for your private parts. Yeah. For any part that they said, any part that smells. So
you can put it under your breast and right between your legs. They really suggest putting it between the crack of your ass. That's what the commercial says, because that's where a lot of the odor comes from. Mm-hmm. So y'all might want to slide up with the Loom. The Loom works. So I just wanted to give a shout out because I like it. I like it. Keeps me sweet smelling.
Yes. Some of these other symptoms are achy joints and muscles and feeling tense muscles. I mean, I'm just like, why am I moving so goddamn slow? Why do I seem to like go to get out the bed and it's a chore? It's like, okay,
it's a whole process.
It's a whole workout. Let me go. One leg out, one foot down.
Child. It says, let's see, more facial hair. Of course, we know about that. Dizziness, vertigo. Tingling extremities is what I experienced. It just felt like I thought, okay, so you didn't have too much sugar. I mean, because my fingers would feel like they're tingling. And I cut out all the sugar. I was like, not eating any. Like, okay, no more sugar for you. So it's chronic bad breath, burning tongue and roof of mouth. Child.
Damn. Right. Can we get a break?
Right.
Wow.
Bad breath too?
Bad breath. Yes. You just like,
I had to look that one up. I'm wondering what
I see it on the top of it's like top 40 symptoms. But and the heart palpitations I experienced, where I just felt like my heart was coming out of my chest.
I know more women are even saying they're experiencing like more anxiety. So Posh, when you was even saying the doctor taking 2 years, a lot of times people go into the doctor and they won't even give you the test. Like, you really have to advocate for yourself, like a bone density test and all of these different things. If you don't ask for this stuff, they're not just putting it out there on the table, but a lot of women, they're going to the doctor and they're literally just prescribing them antidepressants. They're like, you're depressed. Like,
right.
No, I'm not. I might feel like I'm going crazy, but I'm not depressed. So yeah.
Right. Well, some of the antidepressants are used for like PMS. So they've been effective. If you need something to get you over the edge, I'm a pharmacist who does not like taking medication, but some people need medication. So if it works, then go ahead and get yourself right so you can do whatever you want to do, because we know depression is amotivational. So you want to, you may need something to get you over the hump. It can be, not it is. It can be traumatic to not feel like you're in your body. And that was the worst part of it for me, with those night sweats, and then to have people on top of that, they weren't believing me. You know, that was the worst.
Well,
because employers don't believe, and I'm like, I was sleeping like a newborn baby. Like, you know how they sleep those 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And so then you're already exhausted. And then people are wondering like, well, this can't be, no, I don't have to make this stuff up. Like, I'm not sleeping good because of the night sweats, up and down, here and there at the freezer, getting the freeze pop, standing, whatever you need to do. And then people expect you to just show up and happy-go-lucky. And it's just like, I didn't sleep. I'm exhausted. I'm fatigued.
Right.
Yep. I agree. I had to tell my job. They were like, what's wrong with you? I said, I'm going through menopause. I announced it in the middle of the meeting because you're not going to be sitting up here treating me crazy and giving me a bad evaluation. I'm sick.
Right.
Damn it. I am sick. I'm having problems. So I was excelling at work, but at the same time, I had a whole bed under my desk because I would be flip out little bed that I had when I was pregnant. I brought that in because I would be exhausted from not getting sleep. I would get like 2 hours of sleep. So, I attribute the bags under my eyes to that time and I still don't sleep as well as I would like to, so you have to advocate for yourself and stop saying you damn fine. If you ain't fine, then you better tell somebody. You need to have at least one person at work. At least me, I told everybody. At least one person who knows your plight. Because
that knows you. Yeah,
you got to. You got to because these people will ruin your career, off another subject. I remember when I was having postpartum, and I didn't tell anyone that, and they ended up penalizing me for that. So from that moment, I'm like, everybody gonna know. If I'm going through something, y'all gonna know. No, I am not okay.
I'm not okay.
Right. Yeah, we need to be saying that and stop trying to hide it and sweep it up under the rug, because that's part of what we have been guilty of, which is why a lot of us have been blindsided by it because our elders hadn't necessarily talked about it, or at least talked about it to the extent that we understand what we're going to be in for. So this is the opportunity to be vocal. And as you were even saying, Carleeka, when I talked to you about it, because a lot of Black women, it affects us in a lot of different ways. And sometimes our symptoms are a lot worse, but we're not necessarily getting the support that we need, and we're not being seen. And of course, we know that whenever we're in pain, whatever it is, it's not taking it seriously. So it's kind of like, you okay, you need to get back to work.
I just had a spiritual hit.
Uh-oh, what did you get?
We just started celebrating, having parties over the change. You know how we celebrate when our girls have their periods? Well, some of us do. We really love on them and acknowledge that they reached this time. We should celebrate.
Yeah,
and I agree. I agree, because that's what I do. Like I say, yes, you have the symptoms, but it's not. So a lot of times people focus just on the symptoms. It's mental, it's emotional, but it's still a celebration, right? Regardless if you're thrown in it, regardless if you get there naturally, if we embrace it, because this is the thing, the way we used to be able to drop our kids off at daycare or to school and be like, I'll see you later, pick you up. We can't do menopause like that. Like I can't say, I'll be back for you at 6 p.m. or, whatever time I feel like picking you up. It's with us 24/7. It's a part of our life. It's a part, whether you're perimenopause, menopause, or even postmenopausal, you're still a woman, a menopausal woman. And that's why if you even Google, all the pictures that you see is someone with their head hanging down, someone looking like they dead. I know. Like, all my pictures are like, hey.
Right.
And we partying over here. We should. Let's have a menopause party.
No more pads. What's the good things about menopause? No more than damn pads.
No more pads. Yes.
No more getting pregnant. Worry about if you get pregnant.
Yeah, and then and even what I just read about menopause is now an opportunity for you to not be focused on giving birth to children, but giving birth to what you want in your life, and then also giving and also creating things for you and for the people that you love. So then it's you shifting into a new way of what you focus your attention on. So it's not necessarily now about taking care of kids; it's about taking care of yourself.
Yeah, because a lot of us have already done that part, and you have given so much time to everything and everyone else around you. Like outside of the hot flashes and stuff, I celebrate. I'm not walking around with my head down. We're thriving entrepreneurs. You're living your life, like you said, doing the things that you love to do, or reinventing yourself to find the things that you used to love to do. And I feel like more menopausal women, they're even more fearless, right? Because you just don't care.
Right. How about not giving a fuck? So that right there, that alone turning 50 and being like, you know what? I have no fucks to give for nothing that you're talking about.
Exactly. Let me read some of the comments. Somebody said, send me a bottle. I guess it's talking about the loom. When she ain't right, you ain't right, because it impacts your attitude, and etc. That's right. I thought she thought loom was a joke at first.
No, it's real.
Yes, it's real. It's real, and it's good. And somebody said, get a bidet toilet. Your smelly ass will thank you.
I need a bidet.
It is necessary. I have a bidet, and she is my best friend. Ain't nothing like squatting over that sucker and let that water just go on and wash the day away. It's wonderful. A bidet is fabulous. I agree. I endorse that message. And someone said my doctor wanted to prescribe me antidepressants, and I said absolutely not. So
got it.
Yeah, some people need a little help though.
Sometimes we do, and sometimes we have to recognize that there are some things. As much as we are like, I can power away and handle this myself, sometimes we do need support, and we get to be clear about whatever it is that you're doing. You get to acknowledge when it's not working.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get to make sound, I think making a sound decision for yourself, because everyone's body is different. So when we really learn our own bodies, because it's like once we even go to the doctor, whether it's menopause or anything, you're only giving them the symptoms and they're prescribing something. So a lot of times, you know, I don't know if this was you all, like when you would go for your physical and they'd be like, when was your last cycle?
Girl, I can't wait.
I think it was. Let me use all my fingers. Hold on.
And add all this shit up.
Right. So it's like if we're able to better communicate about our own bodies and learn and be more in tune with our own bodies, then we're able to make sound decisions and have things more presented to us to make those choices, whether you choose to be HRT, get pellets, whatever you choose for yourself to do so that you're able to manage your menopause.
Yes.
Speaking of celebrating menopause, there Christine Northrup, who's an MD, and I love a lot of her books. She has Our Bodies Ourselves, which is all about women taking care of themselves. But she has a book called The Secret Pleasures of Menopause. So that would be a good book to take a look at and see. And one of the things that I was thinking about celebrating is celebrating being able to be now the teacher. And so, you know, I find myself, even with my clients that come to me, I'm feeling more motherly, like, okay, now it's my job to pay it forward to these young babies and to support them with knowing what they get to know. So we get to celebrate my new role, because, you know, I've shifted out of student, not to say that you're always learning, but now I am the teacher. And it's time to actually be in that role and the wisdom. And she actually, Christine also has a book about the wisdom of menopause. So we get to acknowledge, like, this is my new, I celebrated turning 50. It's like, you know, I've earned this age. I've earned this and all the wisdom that comes with it. And you damn right, I am bad as shit. So how about acknowledging that and celebrating how much a fire I am?
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And I think that's a message all by itself, that more women should just celebrate how fierce they are and how fearless they are, instead of, like you said earlier, beating yourself up or feeling like it's the end of life. Like, you didn't just get diagnosed and say you're on hospice because you're menopausal. But if you notice, people don't even want to use the word. It's like, I'm like, no, I'm menopausal. I'm a black menopausal woman, okay? And I'm sitting over here having a hot flash, and today is not the day. I might snatch the wig off if I need to. Like,
today is not the day.
Right. Because I didn't sleep, or I'm just But then once you know your own tracking and trending yourself, to know, okay, when I eat certain things, maybe this is the trigger. When I do certain environments may trigger certain stressors or stresses that may be people, whoever. Okay, so let me remove myself a minute. Let me go get me some air. Let me go get me a pops. Look, I love me some freeze pops, y'all. Anything cold.
Really?
Right.
Deep freeze a little bit.
How many times did she say freeze pops?
When we was kids, the really, really long ones when we was kids, younger.
Yeah.
I found those. I got those. I got the short ones too. I will ride down the highway with freeze.
Got it.
Whatever works. Whatever
right,
works.
Exactly. Do what you gotta do. Yeah.
So the phases of menopause, you mentioned it, perimenopause. That's a really tricky time. That's when a lot of the symptoms start. I know one thing I didn't know when I was going through perimenopause, that women can be more fertile during that time and have multiples. So that's just something I just wanted to throw out there. If you're perimenopausal,
don't take no chances.
Be careful unless that's what you want. Because you might have quadruplets. Yeah, right. It's the truth. It's the truth. You may have quadruplets.
Exactly.
So be careful.
Body trying to get it all in.
For the other lady, we're gonna touch and agree. If that's you, we're gonna pray for you.
Exactly.
Yes, we're gonna do that. So what else would you like to share, Carleeka, about menopause?
I just
what
say
your mama didn't tell you.
I mean, just thrive in it. Once again, it's not the end of life. All of the symptoms are manageable. You just have to find ways that you can manage it. And that's what I've done. I just find ways that I can manage my own menopause. So yeah, do what works. If it's a freeze pop, if it's a cup of ice, if it's just getting butt naked and you got to go cool off some, look, don't go to jail because ain't no one coming to bail you out. We ain't coming to do that, but just finding ways and then not being ashamed to have the conversations with your partners, with your employers. Have the conversation so that people are aware. And once again, it ain't no bad word. It's just
it is not. It is not. And I think there's been a lot of shame. But there's no need to be ashamed. Like I am experiencing this, and this is where I am.
Right. And another thing, we were talking about mothers before. I think it's very important to talk to your mother about it and find out when did she go through. That's not a surefire way to find out when you're going to be going through menopause, but it can give you some perspective on what to look for.
Yeah,
if you're lucky enough to still have your mother or a close aunt, have those conversations with them. And have conversations with your daughters.
Yeah.
We need to start something new here. And not have our poor little babies out here in the same situation we were in, a lot of us were in out here trying to figure it out. If you have we all gonna die, and if you're a woman and you had a period, you will be menopausal at some point. Yeah, if you're so fortunate. So it's something that we should talk. It's an inevitable event, and we have to talk about it. We should talk about it.
We should. The same way we talk about puberty, and you have sex education class and all these different things. Don't just stop at puberty. Take them all the way to the journey, all the way to menopause. Get it in the textbooks if it's not in the textbooks. And like you said, I agree. Like my daughter, look, my boys even know, because you get married or whatever, you might end up with someone dealing with that. You don't have to. I asked my husband one day, I said, so how has it been?
Yes. How has it been? I want to know.
He was like, no comment.
he don't have no comment.
No, he was just like, after I really understood what was going on, then I was better able to communicate it to him.
That is so real, because once you're aware, you get more in tune with what's going on. Okay, I'm tripping right now. Yeah. Let me get my shit together. But when you don't know, you're all over the place.
Yeah. When you don't know, and when you're resistant, when you're fighting it. So there's a part of it is really being able to be okay, like starting to accept what's happening so you can be present to what's happening. Because when you're fighting it and resisting it, then you can't come up with a solution because you're so busy trying to resist the fact that it's even happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, think about when you even mention the word to someone, they're like, oh God, I don't even want to think about getting there. And I'm just like, well, you should.
You don't be getting.
It's going to happen. Bro.
Keep living. Yeah, okay. Keep living. Somebody asked, how do you know you are perimenopausal?
Well, with some of those symptoms that we did name off, once again, though, getting your levels checked, and especially women of color, make sure you're getting your vitamin D levels checked, because that attributes a lot. And so perimenopause are just some of those symptoms. It could be hot flashes. It could be some of the dizziness. You just have to pay attention to your own body, because what symptoms I have, Sonia Posh may not have those symptoms, right?
Right.
We have some relatable ones, but it's some with the tingling and the numbing. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, no, I had that, and I listened. I did. I thought this is it for me. So it really requires listening to yourself. It requires creating a relationship with yourself, unlike any that you've had up until this point, so that you can tell when something's different. You get to know yourself.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been something. I love this topic. Like I said, I've been talking about it since I was 35, probably before that, because I told you my mother, she prepared me. She prepared me.
Kudos to your mama. Kudos to your mother.
Yeah. She really did. She really did. I mean, like I said, we went through it with her. So she wanted me to know what it was going to be about. So this has been a great conversation.
Yes, it has.
Carleeka,
yes.
I love that you're an advocate for Black women.
Yes,
and
I am.
The topic of menopause, I don't think I've ever seen that. Have we seen that with Black people, Black women?
What, an advocate for menopause? Yeah. I did do some research. So I came across a few pages, but I think we just don't see them. We're not really necessarily even looking for them. But after I was looking, I told Carleeka the way I found her. I was on LinkedIn. I just Googled menopause, and she came up as somebody that knew somebody. She knew somebody I knew. And then I looked her up on Instagram and called her. Was like, girl, look, we need you on the show. What's up?
And the thing is, once I started researching, that's how I knew that I was like, well, where are the women of color? Like, where, even when you look for the industries, when you look for the fields, and not just in menopause, because I like to take menopause from all the different angles. So from the sex portion, from the mental portion, from the nutritional portion, from the financial portion, because if you're trying to find which product works for you, this stuff not cheap, right? So it can become a whole expense. And so until I really start looking, like you said, Sonia, for those women, it's just like, it's still not enough of us out here talking about it.
It's not right. Yeah, I was thinking, based on what you had just said, I'm like, and even what you said, Carleeka, about having education, it's like, oh, we should do a forum. It would be neat when you just asked about how the men experience it. It would be neat to have the way we do Ask Your Daddy, but get some men together to talk about menopause and talk about how it has impacted them. And I'm like, and then we need to have a conference with women around menopause. Like, how do we get to have these things? And Carleeka, tell us what you have coming up.
Planning MenoCon, because mostly everything that you see is geared to the doctors and scientists. It's just not the everyday woman, right? Or other companies. So we're planning MenoCon for September 16th, 17th of 2022, where we're just bringing it from all angles, right? From entrepreneurs, so let people know, look, thrive in your menopause. Like, you ain't dead.
You're not dead, honey. This is just a new phase.
Yeah.
This is with every death, there is new life, and we get to embrace what that new life is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Celebrate that you don't have to be in your 20s no more, because that was a dumbass period.
Look,
thank God I'm no longer 22.
It's like, let me think about them 20s. It's a blur.
Yes, it's a blur.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another No Bra Wednesday with grown ass women.
Yes.
And so, what do we have coming up next? Oh, next week is me.
Next week we're going to talk about this money, and not just giving it all to the people over the holidays. Y'all see Christmas trees and lose your goddamn minds. It is ridiculous, and we don't have the money to be spending it like that. I mean, we have the money. We just giving it right back to the people. So
I'm giving it to the man.
How about Christmas? We talk about investing some money and making some money instead of actually just buying a whole bunch of
next week. But
PlayStations and shit. So my baby had to have
Sony.
Say that again.
Buy some stock in Sony. That's a good
right. How about that? How about that? So So as a reminder, we go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for No Bra Wednesday, when we let our girls loose and we say it with our breasts. As Postelle said, we will be talking about that money moves with possibly moving that up a week. And then because for Thanksgiving, we want to do something special and just talk about, the season, because it's time for the season. It's time for that turkey, honey. So you want to make sure that you do not miss when we go live. So check out our link tree. I have tons of links that we have dropped down in there so you can make sure you do not miss. Yeah. We'll drop the link when we go live and every other exciting thing that we have coming up. And so you want to make sure you check that out. It's Linktree / grown ass women shit. Also, join our WhatsApp, like our Facebook page, and check out our Instagram, and encourage us to do some TikToks. So maybe if y'all join us on TikTok, me and Postelle start doing.
We ain't did shit.
We keep talking about it. We just ain't doing it. But we're gonna get it together.
And let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about too. We want to hear from you guys. What topic? We just on here talking shit. We're intelligent, but we talk shit. So let us know what you want to hear. What would you like to hear? Yes.
Yeah. What would you like to hear talk shit about?
And if you want to come on here and talk shit, let us know. If you have an area that you would love to come on here and talk about, please contact us. DM us. Send us a message. Let us know.
Yes. And there's a link on the link tree for you to let us know if you actually want to be a guest or if you have a topic in mind. So we cannot wait to talk about it because yes. So with that said, let's see, do I have anything else? No, we have, I guess we'll be announcing our photo shoot. So we're going to look at our pictures first too. Y'all got to see these pictures for this photo shoot. It was so fabulous. So, but with that said, we will see you guys again next weekend. Next weekend. Thank you, Carleeka.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
You were awesome.
Fresh out the oven, straight to the bank. Bentayga smelling like bank. Seats, somebody died on them. Kitty looking like somebody cried on it. Ooh, what you looking at? What you looking at? Body like cinnamon roll.